Welcome back. This is part 9 of my Roblox Studio Beginners tutorial series, and in this episode you'll learn about events. Now, there are a ton of events, so I'll only go over the basic and usually used ones. So how about we make a new script in server script service, and let's make our first event. So let's first do game.players.PlayerAdded. And you'll notice a lightning bolt next to the added in the recommendation, and that's indicating that this is an event. And these events are also called RBX script signals, saying that this script is signaling a change with what it's saying here. Anyways, the player added event is basically saying when the player joins a game. Next, we need to connect this to a function to actually do something. So we do :connect, and then curly brackets, and we need this func, which is short for function, and we also see an argument here for the player that is joining. So let's go up here and let's make a function called onPlayerJoined, and let's put in our player argument, and let's just make sure we specify this as a player. And how about we do print the player.name and then ... space and quotes has joined. So this will get the player's name or username and say that they have joined. So let's connect this function to the script. So we just go in here and then we add the onPlayerJoined, just like that. And let's play the game. And would you look at that? Arcadia has joined. And there's another event for when the player leaves. So let's go down and make another event by doing game.players.PlayerRemoving :connect. And say I wanted to make a function within this event. So we just do function and then curly brackets. Then we pass in our player and then we go edit those curly brackets and we hit enter. So this will make an end, but I'll have a curly bracket at the end, which is more saying that this is an event. About do the exact same thing, but just say that the player is leaving. So player.name has left. So if we join the game, as you'll see, players joined. However, if I leave, player has left. So how about we do a chat event within our player added event? So going into our function here, we'll say the player argument .chatted is this right here, and we do connect function. So this takes in the message that the player said, and then the recipient, which is the player who said that message. So we'll say recipient. And you actually call these arguments whatever you want, as long as you know that they're in the right place. So I'll just call this player who chatted. But let's just focus on the message right now. So let's do print message, and let's go into the game here. And how about, let me just say hello. And there we go. We got hello in the output. You can say maybe 1, 2, 3. And that's also in the output. Another event is .touched. So this will detect if a part has been touched by something, and it has an argument for what specific part touched it, which is called other part. So let's go back into our first script and let's delete our for loop, and let's get the myPart variable. So we'll say myPart .touched :connect function. And this passes in the other part, which is a base part or like any part type. So I'll call it touched part. And let's do print the touched part name. So how about we go into the game here and let's touch this part. As you'll see, we have a bunch of limbs being printed out, like my right leg and left leg. So you may be seeing that's printing a bunch of times, even though I'm already touching it technically. So how do we fix this? So developers call this a debounce, and it's basically a cooldown that stops the script from constantly firing so many times. So it consists of a Boolean value. So we'll say local debounce equals false. So here's our Boolean. Let's go into the event here and say if debounce is equal to false, then, or you can do not debounce. So this is saying that's not true, and you can do that for the opposite. So you'd say if debounce. Well, this is basically saying if debounce is equal to true. So I'm going to go back to not, and we're going to do then, and I'm going to put this in an end statement and then just indent it. Then we set debounce to true, And after the print, let's do a task.wait, say 1 second, and we do debounce equals false so the script can resume. So this will continue as long as debounce is equal to false. So once it is touched, then it'll set it to true, so it won't do this all over again very quickly. And let's go into the game. And once we touch this part, as you'll see, we only have one being printed mostly, so it won't print as many times anymore. And that's what debounces are for. So those are some basic events. And remember that lightning bolt next to them in the recommendation is an event. And for the ones I didn't go over, just also read it in the recommendation. So in the next episode, we'll be going over the ways of getting descendants. So I'll see you guys later.